Let's discuss what the guna of goodness is and how to live in it. Do things not for yourself. The guna of passion is selfishness, all to me, me and more. I use my wife to do what I need. I use a loved one so that he would do what I need. Manipulations for yourself and more. And in guna of goodness, everything is for others. If you do something for a family, for your friends, for those with whom you work, if you do it for someone, then this is already the guna of goodness, without demanding anything in return. This is of course the perfect option. Most often we still mix the guna of goodness and the guna of passion. We do something, and yet somewhere on some conscious level we want them to come to us and say how good you are. It turns out that we are cunning. Unselfish service to someone, a person or a society, or people or a group or an organization, even a party, is already the guna of goodness. Some politicians or businessmen who selflessly serve their own company or party are pure embodiments of guna of goodness. You know, over time, in any case, the amount of money earned bores you, and selflessness
And if not
begins.
disinterested?
If unselfishness does not begin, then the company begins to have the problems.
What kind of guna is it if not disinterested? If you want to be praised, what is a guna?
If you work for someone, then this is definitely the guna of passion. And if you work even for someone, but you have a motive to do good for the company, to earn money for the company, and suddenly, well, this happens very rarely. I tell you, I don't even know how such an example. Most often when we work for someone, we work in the guna of passion. But very often there are examples of businessmen, entrepreneurs who work in the guna of goodness. When a person is so selflessly devoted to his work, when he likes what he does, he earns money in order to keep his employees well, arrange for them some activities, holidays, raise higher salaries, and so that their companies grow and so on, this is clearly the guna of goodness. Then this company will have very good karma. Once again, the most important thing, the guna of goodness clears karma. The more you do during the day or during your life, do something completely disinterested and not expecting to get anything in return, the actions in guna of goodness purify the karmic effects of all previous incarnations. Usually, after a person moves from guna of passion to the guna of goodness, suddenly he decides, well, he got acquainted with a group of some esoteric comrades or some spiritual comrades, and he thinks that from today I will try my best with all forces for everyone's best to try to do everything disinterestedly and for others. He starts doing something. It is terribly hard for him. He overcomes the resistance of the matter of the guna of passion, because the guna of passion dominates in our land. They are trying to provoke him in every possible way. That's why you give a blouse, your favorite blouse, to a girlfriend. You want it for yourself? The same question. How we make presents? Is there selflessness at this moment, or is there a self-interest there? Will you give your friend a standard diary, or will you give what he needs? Most often we give what is needed in order to be praised or to really make a person enjoy it. Even a small everyday motive can be assessed. Do you do it in order for a person to do well, or do you do it because you just need to do it, or do you do it because they praise you?
Such a motive as I clear my karma is still the guna of passion, isn't it?
For a while you do this in order to clear your karma, and then the disinterestedness will begin. The very fact that a person already comes under the influence of the guna of goodness, of course, he first bargains with himself for a while. He does something because he was told. He attends some lectures or teachers say something like that. Okay, let's just try it. then he starts to get the taste for it. He gets pleasure from doing it. So, a sincere arising appears in him because in his astral body and mental body energies that correspond to this guna of goodness, the energy I am and goodness start to dominate, and everything for him, this is already a manifestation of selflessness, becomes natural. So what comes next? Success starts to run after him like a tail. For a person who lives in guna of goodness, everything is very quick and easy. On the other hand, he may no longer need it. He says, no, I don't need. I've gone further. I need to work. I've got some kind of world service. I earn money to make the life of people around better or make their company better simply because I love my work so much. When a person does something not for himself for some time, karma burns catastrophically quickly, and the period begins when he really lack money, connections, any opportunities for the realization of any desires begin to run after him, because it already turns out that, well, what else can you give this to? You see, some strange reaction begins to work in this universe. Not really strange, just the mode of passion, the energy of passion reacts to the benevolent person. You have more. Yes, then he again takes this you have more because his karma is already clean and theoretically and practically, because with his disinterestedness he very quickly burned all the approaching some kind of karmic shocks. He at least cleared the path for himself, and he already has the right to possess these benefits that the universe brings down on him, again with benefit for others, because for him the natural reaction is already doing something for others. So this is the introduction to the path of disinterested service to his neighbor. He somehow leads to the fulfillment of desires. On the other hand, when a person having the opportunity to have everything, he ceases to enjoy having everything. He begins to enjoy only giving. So it turns out that to get everything, you need nothing to want. Such a little law. But in order to start not wanting this, you need to start at least something. Let first be selfish, because Nadia said so. Also a good motive. Let's first start with the motive. At least something every day to do disinterestedly for some person, and then we'll see. Then the situations begin, karmic, which lead further, and the next level is already called transcendental. Well, let me tell you one more thing about the guna of goodness. It all sounds very optimistic that a person who is in the guna of goodness, his karma burns. It burns, but some karmic fireproof remains. There are several levels of karma. There is karma that is not destroyed by the guna of goodness. But even hard karma, like murder, of some kind of a global life shock, a deadly disease, it is very cool to remove. It is facilitated by the fact that when these karmic events come, due to coincidence of circumstances or stars, now the time has come for this event to happen. This event, due to the fact that a person has already undergone a profound change in character, it will not affect him as much, and will at least be greatly facilitated. Instead of killing you, you roughly speaking will be hit on the head, that's it, and the whole thing will be over. Instead of losing everything that you should have, and losing, for example, you lose your credit card, which can be easily reproduced just by going to the bank. You then may not understand for what event this little misfortune happened, but on your ideal good life, this little misfortune will seem like a global catastrophe. But on the other hand, it may be because for a long time you lived in the guna of goodness and did not, for yourself, the confluence around you of these energies itself removed you from those karmic events during which you could be killed with this combination of stars, planets and circumstances. You just happen to be at the moment in another place and another time. They came up to you and said, life or wallet. You gave away the wallet, and that's all. They left. And it had like $3. Do you understand? In any case, life in the guna of goodness facilitates even severe karmic consequences. But in order to start living in it, there is another one. Here I repeat, if you start to do something for others, the influence of the guna of passion on you becomes aggravated. You start getting a lot of provocations in order for you to break. The guna of goodness implies the absence of negative thoughts and negative emotions in a person. I can recommend you a very good way. For this is generally better to begin the path to enlightenment. Force yourself for 40 days. I will explain to you why 40 days. Do not experience any bad thoughts and any bad emotions. The very fact that you then begin to dominate the energy of the guna of goodness in the two bodies, the astral and the mental. Not one bad thought, not one bad emotion. The rule I have tested on many works flawlessly. Alcoholics stop drinking. People doomed to global karmic misfortunes like imprisonment begin to be released, and so on. Incredible miracles begin to happen. The main thing is to stay 40 days at the level of these positive energies. Artificially, it doesn't matter how, even beating your head against the wall.
And how can this be done?
Forbid yourself bad thoughts and bad emotions. As soon as they have appeared, for example, with respect to a certain person, you cross the road, you had to brake abruptly at the transition, passes in front of you, force yourself to refrain in any possible way from negative reactions to this event.
But the emotion has already appeared.
You have an impulse, instinctively. The guna of passion has worked for you, or even worse, the guna of ignorance, if aggression has come to you. Your task is to neutralize it with the guna of goodness. Wish this person right there happiness and all the best. So far you are doing it artificially, but the fact that you do not allow negative thoughts, negative emotions in you is not something to appear but to take root, because usually after we have been cut, we still continue 5 minutes of shaking from horror, not from horror, from anger. This is the guna of ignorance. After that, we come home and we need to lie down, we need to sleep. We are tired, yes?
And if a person next to you is always so aggressive, what helps then?
Wish a person happiness and all the best, and it is desirable to do it sincerely. And wish this unfortunate one who has cut you on the road so many times happiness and all the best until you feel better.
And at the same time, you will feel like a complete jerk.
It does not matter. You do everything so that then no one fell under your wheels at all, because when the guna of goodness dominates in your life, they will just run away. You never ever have to slow down.
Well, we are talking about the road, and if they say to you, you didn't do it in the right way, and you answer, dear, I love you too.
No, you turn on the state of awareness. They told you so at work. You begin to follow this rule. Not one bad thought, not one bad emotion. Very correctly, Lena said, we start with the losing up of the identity. If we are identified with our skins, with our career, then we will naturally react. If there is disidentification, even artificially, at least write yourself reminders on a yellow piece of paper.
Yes, as you look at yourself from outside, it becomes clearer.
The greater the disidentification, the greater the ability to control these spontaneous releases of thoughts and emotions. First, disidentification begins. Then, not a single bad thought, not a single bad emotion. Then the bodies of the guna of goodness, the energy of goodness begin to dominate, and everything and the karmic events change by themselves automatically. But in any case, hold out for 40 days. It's very difficult.
And why 40 days?
Everything is 40 days in this universe. A lot of things happen in 14 days. This is such a mystical figure and it works. Therefore, we hold 40 days. When you have decided start, it does not matter neither the day nor the time. It is not necessary to wait for the start of the week. You can start from today. Not one bad thought, not one bad emotion. We go to the Guna of goodness. And then there is also every day voluntarily, compulsively doing at least something disinterestedly through the force for someone, not wanting anything in return. Then everything begins. In 40 days, the Guna of goodness will become fully accessible to you. You will already begin to enjoy this life. The next level is the transcendental level, the super karmic level. By and large, karma operates in 3 gunas of material nature. By the way, does our camera still work? Karma operates in the 3 gunas of material nature, the guna of goodness, the guna of passion, and the guna of ignorance. We live in the guna of passion all as a rule. Very few get out in the guna of goodness and become already elite. First, of course, they are rocked and rolled. At first it's very hard for them. And then there is one question: why does it immediately become very hard for them? Because at least the flow of all karmic processes at the level of the energy of goodness is accelerated. And if you used to go on potholes, have you moved over a speed bump at a slow speed? Practically don't feel it, gently shakes. And if you skip your troubles at full speed, the flow of your life is accelerating. And it turns out that those karmic events that were supposed to fall on you in 10 years, they fall on you in 1 year, but on a reduced scale. Do you understand? On a reduced scale. Do not leave the guna of goodness. Hold on to at all costs. So these bumps, speed bumps, you start jumping through them at such a speed, at the speed of a rocket. If you used to move smoothly through them at a speed of 30 miles per hour, now you have speed of 100 miles per hour. Of course it shakes, but shakes quickly and slightly. Wheels do not fall off, do not worry. Do you understand? Therefore the processes are accelerated.
I have a question about the fact that in the guna of ignorance, everything revolves around the word yesterday.
Yes, that's regret.
Do I understand correctly that the guna of a person who lives in yesterday is ignorance, the guna of a person who lives tomorrow is passion, and goodness is the mode of a person who lives today?
Exactly. Brilliant. Well done. Life in the present is another of the characteristics of those 40 days of finding happiness which I recommend to you. To live in a state of consciousness here and now, not to allow thinking about the past, what happened yesterday, and forbid yourself to dream and suffer about the future, because it has not come yet and you are currently living in the guna of goodness, changing it catastrophically quickly. Such a trial period is 40 days of the 4th guna of goodness, and your life will change. Everybody's changes, and yours will change. Life in the present is the guna of goodness.
For example, when you think about some project or idea, when you plan, is this life in tomorrow?
This is called the performance of their duties. You have to think about what you will do tomorrow, plan your day. You should think about it today, and you should plan what you will say to your boss and how you will influence. Again, this is the fulfillment of your official functions. This is the fulfillment of your duty. This is equivalent to what the general will plan. Oh, tomorrow it will be snowing. I'll better take a bigger broom. This is a natural planning process, the execution of its work process. This is the same as you when you schedule your meetings or your negotiations or the result of some action. For example, I know how much I have to sell this device. This does not mean that you somehow thinking about the future. Guna of passion, what it is characterized by? We think about the future, we plan it, and we are afraid that it will not be realized. We live by it, losing the joy of the present. Do you understand? This is the guna of passion. Then you manipulate your neighbor in order to gain the expected qualities from him, and then you enjoy the communication with him. You see, this is the guna of passion. or when you manipulate a person so that someday he will make the result you need for yourself, raise a child for yourself, know for his good, but so later in older age, well, and so on. Even the process of education in us is so selfish. We even put our children in specific schools where they're taught what we need, what it is if it's not the guna of passion. We act absolutely selfishly. Therefore, if you are just planning your tomorrow or planning a future, some kind of project, you are planning it by doing your duty.
Sometimes it's hard to separate the things. When you plan, you often start thinking about the fact that something goes wrong.
If while you think you are being attached to the material result, then this is the guna of passion, this is the karmic level. It is not the guna of goodness. If you are doing a project, a plan of your work, simply calculating how it will be better for the project, for the people participating in it, forgetting as it for yourself, this is the guna of goodness, a good karmic level. This is super karmic level. In this case, making this project will be absolutely successful. If you do this project and think, yeah, I will do it like this, and so he will earn so much and I will earn so much, you have a goal, you have a material attachment, you mean anyway. Anyway, the energy of the project is formed for the guna of passion, so the project is already doomed to the karmic events within the framework of this project. Already it turns out that any egregor or any company creating or acting on a project or participating in any business transaction and so on, if you do it just for the sake of having to just come and sell the computer without thinking about what you earn, a commission, you get pleasure from communicating with a person, you understand that he needs this computer, you seem to be doing good for him, forgetting about yourself. A lot of merchants do just that, and they are incredibly successful because they do not think about themselves, they think about their result. And the best businessman who earns a large amount of money is never tied to the result, no matter how much they earn. Then an accountant accidentally talks about it.